to explore what integral art means. And in the past, we've come up with several different approaches to integral art, several different definitions of it. And we tend to make a distinction between what you could call, in a sense, comprehensive art, which is sometimes a lot of people think when you're doing integral art that you have to have every quadrant, every level, every line, every type somehow stuffed into the artwork. And we call that sort of the Wagnerian nightmare approach to art. And that's really not necessary. The thing that defines integral art is the consciousness of the artist. So anything that integral consciousness produces as an art expression is a piece of integral artwork. Now, it may be good or bad judged on the criteria of integral art as art works, but the definition of integral art is anything that comes out in integral consciousness or integrally informed consciousness. So whether you're painting, for example, a bug or a rock or a Buddha, or whether you're actually trying to depict some comprehensive type of artwork, it's all integrally informed. It's integral consciousness producing artwork. In the past, there was a notion of avant garde for probably 300 years, and avant garde in art was an incredibly important notion, I think absolutely crucial to any culture. And we've lost the notion of the avant garde. We lost it for a very precise reason, which I'll go into very briefly. But the avant garde is just what it sounds like. It's the leading edge, and specifically the leading edge of evolution, the growing tip of humanity, basically. And even though you would find an avant-garde movement in any of the different human knowledge disciplines, there was, in a sense, avant-garde science, avant-garde education, but always it usually fell to art and the artists to be the real pioneers in avant-garde. And there's several reasons for that. If you're an avant-garde doctor or physician, you have to be careful because your mistakes are killing people. Now, as a physician, you kill people daily, and that's sort of what you do. But you want to try to minimize that on any good day. And so experimentation, though, you're allowed to be an artist and kill yourself for the cause. As a matter of fact, most really great artists manage to kill themselves one way or another. So we're trying to suck some good artworks out of these boys before they flame out and kill themselves in the cause of art. So being an avant-garde artist, obviously, to some extent, it's been abused. The bohemian, you know, drinking, smoking, womanizing, et cetera, all that kind of stuff. But really, part of it is you're allowed to experiment with your soul in the most outrageous ways possible for the benefit of humanity. Now, ultimately, that would be kind of a bodhisattva approach to this thing. Now, the avant-garde, the great thing about it is it's sort of punching through into new areas of consciousness and therefore artistic expression. And that punch through, that extraordinary heroic impulse, whether in the masculine or feminine form, it was always part of what the avant-garde was. They were surfing the leading edge of evolution until boomeritis. And what happened with boomeritis and postmodernism in general is that nobody is allowed to be better or worse than anybody else. So you can't, the boomeritis postmodern approach to an ocean, for example, is no waves are allowed because some waves are bigger than others. So the boomeritis approach is sort of to go out with a flat iron and smush all the waves down until you get this sort of absolutely mediocre infinity. And therefore there was no room for the avant-garde. It was an absolute nightmare. And there was actually treatises written on this, the end of the avant-garde and so on. Now what we want to hopefully want to do is, in effect, resurrect the avant-garde. I think it's incredibly important. And even though we're trying to be avant-garde in any number of areas, we're really trying to come up with avant-garde education, avant-garde medicine, and so on. It's still up to the artists to punch through first. I mean, they're the test pilots of new awareness and new modes of expression. So what we're doing is taking all of the sort of artists and artist friends, our friends that are coming through Integral Institute that have been inspired by an integral approach because their own consciousness is integral. And make no mistake about that, these aren't people that, to use my work as an example, that are becoming integral because they read my work. They're people that were already integral, they had integral consciousness, and therefore my work made sense to them. So that's really what we're doing here, is we're drawing together people that one way or another are punching into integral consciousness in their own case and finding ways to express it and explore it in different ways. Both of these gentlemen have been doing this for as long as I've known them, and actually for most of their adult lives. Ed Kowalczyk started out in York, PA, 14 years old. he's in a garage with a band cranking out his version of depth and spirituality in artistic expression. He's been doing it ever since. Stuart Davis, same thing. And you all know their work, you know their lyrics, you know their music. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's an attempt to take depth and express it in artwork in a way that can resonate with other people at similar depth. Or even in a good moment, pull people to that same height or depth by resonating with that artwork. And so we're here, we want to sort of discuss the avant-garde in general. And we've talked them into doing a couple performances, and some of which they've rehearsed exactly once, so we can look forward to some major embarrassing moments.
Some work for some editors.
What I asked both of them, in a sense, was to pick one of their own compositions, one of their own songs, where they feel that they're really sort of expressing their own, you know, an authentic impulse that they really wanted to communicate, sort of one of the things that they feel best about in terms of their own work. And so Ed's going to do a song called Overcome for us. Go ahead and start with Overcome.
I'd talk about it a little bit. This song was actually written a long time ago. It was written before the record was had even begun the process of the fifth record. And it kind of took on a life of its own. It was always really special to me, and it was kind of a secret song that I had for a while and kind of forgot about, and brought it back into the fold. And right around 9/11, some really wild, really cool, spontaneous things started happening with the song. The record itself wasn't getting that much play, but this song we put on our website, and actually this company called Mind Planet something, a .com company that makes does news footage, and they did a spontaneous video for this song, which just totally rocked our worlds. And they played it for about 36 hours straight, it seemed, on VH1 for just out of the blue, just really wild. Anyway, sort of a kind of an interesting event around the song, which I never would have anticipated, but Overcome.
Even now, the world is bleeding, feeling just fine. All numb in our castle, where we're always free to choose, never free enough to find. I wish something would break, 'cause we're running out of time. I am overcome, yeah. I am overcome, baby. Holy water in my lungs. I am overcome. These women in the street pulling out their hair. My master's in the yard giving light to the unaware. This plastic little place was just a step amongst the stairs. I am overcome. I am overcome, baby. Holy water in my lungs, yeah. I am overcome. So drive me out to that open field. Turn the ignition off and spin around. Your help is here, but I'm parked in this open space, blocking the gates of love.